In this video, I'll show you the studio apartment that I rent here in San Jose, Costa Rica. It rents for about $320 a month. As you can see, the neighborhood is relatively safe, clean, and quiet. My windows here overlook this city park, and there's a creek that runs right outside the window. The building is relatively modern. It's well constructed and well maintained. It's about a mile from the city center, so I can walk into town in about 15 or 20 minutes. If I take the bus, it costs 80 cents. An Uber is $2 or $3. So I'm not burdened by the expense and the inconvenience of owning a car. This is the apartment. It's in the shape of a triangle, 140 square feet in this room and another 30 square feet in the bathroom. When I first looked at this apartment, I noticed that there were several things that were different from some of the others I looked at. These may not seem to be remarkable, but in this country they are. First thing is that the bathroom fixtures were new, properly installed, and not in need of repair. Throughout the building, the paint color was consistent, all this neutral, landlord-approved eggshell. Same with the tile work throughout the building, a neutral color, all of it matched, all professionally installed. Often in this country, whether it's a restaurant, a doctor's office, some other retail shop, a home, a government office, they tend to use these garish pastel paint colors, and the tile is often overly decorative, and I find this to be visually cacophonous. So I was relieved to see that everything was neutral here, a little beigey for my taste, but I can live with it. An unfurnished apartment here means, of course, no furniture. It also means no kitchen appliances, no stove, no oven, no refrigerator, no washer dryer. Just a kitchen sink with some hookups. This turned out to be a blessing as well. It meant that I could purchase my own tiny appliances, no more or less than I needed, and it would be appropriate for this small space. This refrigerator was $140 new, and I have a one-burner stove that costs $35. Those are my kitchen appliances. Regarding the furniture, I knew I wanted natural materials, neutral colors, simple designs, and everything had to be a specific size in order to fit into this very small space. It was unlikely that I was going to find this in a furniture store, so I decided to build the furniture myself, even though I don't have any experience or natural abilities as a carpenter. First, I had to learn about metric lumber sizes, similar but slightly different to the United States. Next, I opened up an architectural drawing program called PowerPoint. I drew up some plans and took those to EPA, which is our version of Home Depot. They cut up the lumber to my specifications. Then I purchased a small complement of tools, a can of white paint, a can of varnish, and then I put it all together. These plywood cubicles are for the stove and the refrigerator. It provides some storage space. This very simple table is my office and dining area. This is the bed/sofa. It's just a slab of OSB. It's up on 2x4s, so I have some storage underneath and a burlap sack to cover up any unsightliness. And finally, my piece of resistance, testing my abilities as a carpenter. I didn't have a closet, so I needed to build one. So this is where I keep the clothing. There's a mop, a broom, a vacuum cleaner, and a few garden tools. Again, when I first looked at the apartment, there was nothing here except the kitchen sink, a blank wall with a few hookups, and, puzzlingly, a farmer sink. I wondered why the building's owners would go to the expense and trouble of providing something that seemed so impractical and took up a valuable 4 square feet of floor space. Turns out there's a reasonable explanation, and that is, although Costa Rica is a modern country and we have ample access to goods and services such as modern household appliances, as recently as a generation ago, that was not the case. The median income was still relatively low, and a purchase such as a washing machine was considered to be prohibitively expensive. So people were still washing their clothes by hand and washing lots of other things in a utility sink like this one. So this is a throwback to the olden days of the year 2000. It turns out I use it far more frequently than I thought I would. I do wash some clothes by hand. It's harder than it looks, and I'm not very good at it. I have done some community projects, a little bit of landscaping or trash collection outside, and I do get the tools muddy. and I do get my farmer boots muddy as well. And when I come in, I wash everything up right here in the farmer sink. So it's not just a conversation piece, it actually does have a practical function. Right here under the farmer sink is the water heater. I thought it was interesting, and I have one here that I can open up and show you the guts. It runs on 220. As you can see, it doesn't have a water tank. The cold water comes in here. It goes into this super hot cylinder. It comes out hot and is routed to the kitchen sink, the bathroom sink, and the shower head. Now, the reason I bring this up is to say that if you visit Costa Rica and you stay in a budget-friendly hotel or a private house, you're likely to see a different device that's called a thermo shower. These are very easy on the electricity. They cost about $40 retail. They're everywhere. And I'll have more about this in a future video. But for now, I wanted to point out that although this seems like something you might find in a recreational vehicle or a campground or something like that, this actually is the far more sophisticated method of heating water. These cost about $210. That includes free installation and a 3-year warranty. The climate here in Costa Rica's Central Valley is ideal, really. The year-round daily high temperature is between 70 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit. However, it's deceptively humid. And I say deceptively because it's not hot and humid, therefore it's not uncomfortable. But it is humid. So after I was here about 6 months, I noticed that the clothes that were in my homemade armoire, if they weren't made of cotton, for example, if they were leather or wool, they were developing large patches of white mold. So I got that knocked down and I purchased a little bucket of chemicals, something like this. I put that in the closet and it drew the moisture out of the air and it solved the problem. Meanwhile, in the bathroom, there were what appeared to be mysterious shadows on the walls. Of course, it turned out not to be shadows. It was mold that was growing on the textured plaster. So I knocked that down with a bottle of bleach and a brush, and I got a fan for the bathroom that I leave running most of the day to keep the air circulating. And for about $140, I got a dehumidifier, and I run this about 3 or 4 hours a day. So that was about 4 years ago, and I haven't had a problem with either situation since then. That's a look inside my tiny apartment. I enjoyed showing it to you. I hope you got a kick out of it as well. Follow the channel for more videos. Thank you for watching.